Welcome back. Days after the U.S. shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon, the first images of the debris were released by the U.S. Navy. The balloon, it was around 200 feet tall. Just wrap your head around that figure, 200 feet high. It was shot down early Saturday morning as it floated off the coast of South Carolina. The U.S. Navy is using underwater drones, warships, inflatable vessels to try and retrieve whatever pieces they can from this balloon. The debris are now being taken to an FBI lab in Virginia to analyze the capabilities of this balloon. What danger could it have possibly meant for the United States and for U.S. citizens? Remember, the U.S. insists that the balloon was used by the Chinese military for spying. While China has acknowledged that the balloon was indeed Chinese, they have called it a weather balloon that had blown off course. Now, this balloon has caused a serious diplomatic face-off between the U.S. and China. Just take a look at the series of events over the last 10 days. The balloon first entered American airspace towards the end of January, flying around the southern tip of Alaska. It then entered Canadian airspace to then float back into American airspace. It made its way over Montana, which is home to the Malmstrom Air Force Base, which is one of the 3 sites which operates and maintains the silo-based intercontinental ballistic missiles. Now, the balloon also cast a shadow over U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's planned visit to Beijing. He was supposed to go there on the 3rd of February. Just hours before his departure, Blinken decided to postpone his trip. According to the U.S. State Department, the surveillance balloon had undermined the very purpose of the trip. The following day, the United States military shot down the balloon as it hovered over the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of South Carolina. A single missile fired from an F-22 Raptor stealth fighter jet brought down the balloon, which had been flying at about 60,000 to 65,000 feet. Remember, normal aircraft fly about 30 to 40,000 feet. This was flying about 20,000 feet higher. All flights were grounded in North and South Carolina shortly before the shooting down of the balloon. Now, Chinese President Xi Jinping currently has his hands full with domestic problems like the fallout of his zero-COVID policy, and perhaps he doesn't want to drag out the dispute with the United States, which could explain the rather muted reaction from China to the balloon being shot down. China claimed that the United States is using armed force to bring down the balloon, and that is an excessive reaction. It expressed strong discontent and protest against the U.S. action. The Chinese have also accused the United States of violating international norms by shooting down the balloon, but made no mention of the violation of international law. China has also said it would defend its legitimate rights in the interests of the enterprise involved, which could help it make the case that the government was not directly involved in launching this balloon. China has also refused a conversation with U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. In his State of the Union address, U.S. President Joe Biden made a reference to this Chinese balloon episode.
I'm committed to work with China where we can advance American interests and benefit the world, but make no mistake about it. As we made clear last week, if China threatens our sovereignty, we will act to protect our country, and we did.
Now, according to the United States, China's fleet of spy balloons have targeted several countries, including India. As per the Washington Post, the surveillance balloon effort has operated for several years now, partly out of the Hainan province, which is in the southern coast of China. They have collected information on military assets in other countries and areas of emerging strategic interest to China, including the Indo-Pacific, India, Japan, and of course the thorny issue of Taiwan. These surveillance airships are operated in part by the People's Liberation Army. They have been spotted over at least 5 continents. They are part of China's fleet of balloons developed to conduct surveillance operations, and they have violated the sovereignty of other countries apart from the United States. So, could the popping of a balloon turn into a watershed moment in the rivalry between the United States and China? The balloon crisis could exacerbate already tense ties where the US and Chinese forces have come into very close contact, including over the South China Sea. US officials are increasingly worried that Chinese state companies may be assisting Russia's military effort against Ukraine by providing technology and semiconductors, which may raise the pressure for action by the White House. The Biden administration is already expected to create a body to review outbound U.S. investments into China the next few months. And the new Republican House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, is expected to follow in the footsteps of his Democratic predecessor, Nancy Pelosi, with a visit to Taiwan later this year.